Hello friends, welcome back to the English class. In this session, we are going to talk about a very important tense, that is tense number 4, which is called present perfect continuous. My dear friends, very honestly telling you, out of all the tenses, this tenses has a unique value for many reasons. So, listen to the session very carefully. I'll explain every point very clearly in such a way that everybody would understand. So, let's understand what this present perfect continuous tense is about. So, first of all, I'll do one thing. I'll explain the structure first. Once that is clear, then we will go to the meaning. Because you know that whenever we learn any tense, we are actually learning two things. Number one, we are learning the timing of the tense, which means when do we use the tense, in what situation we use the tense. Number two, we are also using the structure of the tense, which means we are learning the grammar as well. So, first of all, in this tense number 4 called present perfect continuous, let's learn the structure first, followed by the timing next. What is the structure? The structure is very simple. Subject follows has been or have been. Remember, has been or have been is very important. And remember, the verb is always in the ing form. Please understand. Present perfect continuous, the grammar is very simple. Subject plus has been or have been, followed the verb in the ing form ends with the object. If you see this example, you will understand. See this example, she has been practicing. See this example, she has been practicing since morning. So, if you take this example, she has been practicing since morning, has been plus ing comes. But if you see here, they have been practicing since morning. If you see here, they have been practicing since morning. See, she has been practicing, they have been practicing. ing is common, but the difference is sometimes we use have been, sometimes we use has been. And that is entirely based on the simple logic, singular and plural verb. Don't worry, I'll explain very clearly about it. And also, if you see here, since is the preposition used. But my dear friends, mind it. Not every time do we use since. Sometimes we use for also. When we use since and when we use for is something I'll tell you now. Be very careful. So, point is very clear. The grammar, the structure of tense number 4, present perfect continuous is subject plus has been or have been plus ing form plus object. So far, everything is clear. What I'll do is, I'll now explain to you the situation, the meaning of tense. See, present perfect continuous is used something like this. The action actually started in the past, okay? Present perfect continuous is used like this. The action actually started in the past, and even now the action is still in progress, okay? Action in progress. So, this is the funda of present perfect continuous, my dear friends. I'll repeat for your kind sake once more. We use present perfect continuous like this. The action started in the past, and even now the action is still happening. Now you may be wondering, sir, what is the difference between present continuous and present perfect continuous? What is the difference between present continuous and present perfect continuous? The difference is very simple. We use present continuous to simply say that the action is in progress. But when we talk about present perfect continuous, we also mention the starting time. That is why we say action started in the past and still now the action is in progress. In a simple way, you have to understand that when the action started in the past, when you want to mention the exact point of time, the preposition is since. Always remember, when you mention the exact point of time, the preposition is since. Similarly, when you mention the period of time, when you mention the period of time, the preposition is for. I hope the point is clear. When you mention the exact point of time, the preposition is since. And when you mention the period of time, the preposition is for. I hope the point is clear. No, sir, the point is not 100% clear, sir. Still, there is some confusion about the difference between when we use since and when we use for. Correct? For that, I am here to give you the best clarity. I said since, which means the point of time. So, for example, the point of time is 7:30. The point of time is 7:30 a.m. The point of time is 7:30 a.m. Now you tell me, for 7:30 a.m., do I use since or do I use for? I use since. For 7:30 a.m., I use the preposition since because here I say since 7:30 a.m. However, if I say 3 hours, if I say 3 hours, it is 4. So, since 7:30 a.m. is something I use here. However, 3 hours is a period of time. You understand the logic? I'll ask you one more question. My dear friends, you tell me what the right preposition is. Do you think the right preposition is since or do you think the right preposition is for? Are you ready for the next question? Here we go. I said last week. I said last week. So can you tell me now what is last week preposition used in present perfect continuous? Do we say last week since or for? My dear friends, last week we use the preposition since. For example, if I use 7 days, then we use the case for. Now I'll ask you something very interesting. I said childhood. I said childhood. So childhood is a point of time which is since, correct? Which is since. If I say for example 14 years, so 14 years becomes 4. So like this, present perfect continuous is a beautiful tense where since versus for. Many people, even when they talk in English, when they communicate in English, they often make this mistake. They are confused about the difference between since and for. They're confused about the difference between since and for. So now, if you see here, 7:30 a.m. is since and 3 hours is for. Last week is since, 7 days is for. Childhood is since and 14 years is for. That is the main difference here. So 7:30 a.m. is since, 3 hours is for. Okay, sir. Now somehow we are a bit confident. We are now more confident about the difference between since and for. But still, if you can give us more examples, it helps us. Definitely, I'll do that. But if you remember, what is the structure of present perfect continuous? Yes, I'll repeat. Subject always follows has been or subject may follow even have been. So, subject plus has been or have been plus the verb is always in the ing form plus object. Now again there might be a dilemma for some of you when to use has been, when to use have been. That is not a problem. Already in our earlier sessions as well, I have explained it many times. Always remember when we use the expression he, she, it, when we use the expression he, she, it, we use has been. In all other cases, we use have been. So, I have very clearly explained the meaning of present perfect continuous. I'll repeat now for your kind sake. Present perfect continuous is used to describe an action that started in the past and even now the action is in progress. Present perfect continuous is used to describe an action which started in the past and even now the action is in progress. So, here when you mention the starting time, when you mention the starting time, since is used, and when you mention the period of time, for is used. Okay, when you mention the starting time, since is used. When you mention the period of time, for is used. This is the timing, this is the meaning of present perfect continuous. Now about the grammar, I have explained very clearly. Subject follows has been or have been following ing form ending with object, ending with object. So now I also have explained very clearly the meaning of present perfect continuous. Action started in the past and even today, even now, at the time of saying this expression, at the time of speaking, the action is in progress. So The action started in the past and action is still in progress. And now the difference is since and for. Since denotes the point of time and for denotes the period of time. And I have given a lot of examples for you by better understanding the difference between since and for, which is very important. And I also have repeatedly told you the difference of the formula, when to use has been or when to use have been. Whenever we talk about one person, one boy, one girl, or one animal or a thing, we use has been. In all other cases, we use have been. Please understand that is the basic difference here. Having explained the meaning of, the timing of present perfect continuous, and also having explained the fundamental difference between since and for, without further delay, what do we do now? Yes, it's the time to practice a lot of examples. Are you ready for the examples? Here we go. There is a beautiful example. I say like this. Carefully follow, my dear friends. It has been raining. It has been raining since morning. See, it has been raining since morning is a beautiful expression. It has been raining since morning, which means it started to rain in the morning and even now it is still raining. So, it has been raining since morning means it started raining in the morning and even now it's raining. That's a beautiful expression. Similarly, I'll give you now one more expression, one more example. She has been sleeping. See, she has been sleeping for 2 hours. If you see this expression, what is the meaning of this expression? She has been sleeping for 2 hours. It means she started to sleep 2 hours before and even now she is sleeping. She started to sleep 2 hours before and even now she has been sleeping. So the fundamental difference here is the difference with the preposition. If you see here, since is the preposition, and if you see here, for is the preposition. It has been raining since morning. She has been sleeping for 2 hours. It has been raining since morning. She has been sleeping for 2 hours. That's the fundamental difference here. Now, for example, you take another subject like you have been. Now, for example, you have been. You have been shouting. See, you have been shouting since. You have been shouting since 7 a.m. There is a gentleman who is shouting, and he started shouting when the time was 7. Now the time is 8 o'clock. This gentleman is still shouting. You understand the difference here? You understand the difference here? So that is the beauty of this particular expression where we talk about you have been shouting since 7 a.m. Okay, I'll give you now one more example. I'll give you now one more example. The example says like this. They have been, the example says like this. They have been playing. They have been playing for 30 minutes. They have been playing for 30 minutes. So, if you again notice here I used since, but here I have used for. So, in some cases I am using since, in some cases I am using for, which is something interesting. Which is something interesting. So, it has been raining since morning. She has been sleeping for 2 hours. You have been shouting since 7 a.m. They have been playing for 30 minutes. If you observe one thing which is common in all the four statements. In all the four statements, the action started in the past and even now the action is in progress. If you observe in all the four statements, something very interesting. The action started in the past and even now the action is in progress, which is very interesting. But the only difference is, some cases I am using since and some cases I am using for, which is very important. I'll repeat that point for you once more because the more number of times I repeat this, the better you will understand. So since is the point of time, for is the period of time. Now, some of you may be wondering, sir, this is okay, sir. This is very, very, very clear, sir. But how do we ask questions in present perfect continuous? I always say this, if you remember, the difference between a statement and a question is, in a statement, subject follows helping verb. But in a question that you are asking, helping verb follows subject. Everybody understood this? When you're mentioning a statement, subject follows helping verb. But when you're mentioning a question, helping verb follows subject. Now, I'll give you a wonderful example for your better understanding. The example goes like this. Has Lata, I'm talking about a girl Lata, I'm asking Lata, I'm asking a question about Lata. See, has Lata been? Has Lata been eating? See, has Lata been eating? Has Lata been eating since morning? Has Lata been eating since morning? What does this mean? It's a question which means Lata started eating in the morning and even now Lata is eating. So has Lata been eating since morning? It's a question. But my dear friends, remember when you're asking a question, this has been becomes separated. Have you noticed it? Yes. In a statement, has been or have been come together. But if you're asking a question, has been or have been get separated, what happens is it becomes like this. In the case of a question, has been or have been gets separated and it becomes like this. Did you understand this? Now the meaning of the question is, has Lata been eating since morning? Which means, yes, Lata is eating since morning and you're asking a question now. I'll ask you one more question. Imagine after my office is over, I went home and then I found my friend there who is waiting for me because I actually asked my friend to come at 6 p.m. And now, by the time I reached home, it's 7 p.m. Now I'm surprised and I asked my friend a question like this. What can I ask? Can you guess? You're right. Have you been waiting for me? Have you been waiting for me for an hour? See? Have you been waiting for me for an hour? Have you been waiting for me for an hour? It's a beautiful question I asked my friend because I asked my friend to come home I asked my friend to come home at 6 p.m. and unfortunately I am late for 1 hour. I went home by 7 p.m. and after I went home I found my friend waiting for him. So now naturally what happened is I asked my friend a question. Have you been waiting for me for an hour? And my dear friends, do you notice here also have and been are separated because you're asking a question. If you don't separate them, it doesn't look good. Imagine now, in this particular question, you don't separate have been. Then just try what happens. Shall I try for you? Yes. Have been you waiting for me for an hour? Have been you? Do you think that is correct? Not at all. Have been you is absolutely an incorrect question. Point number one, when you're asking a question, has been or have been, always get separated. That's point number one. Now, point number two, always remember the right usage of since and for, something very important. So, I have explained present perfect continuous in this session. Just for 30 seconds, I'll recap what is present perfect continuous and when we use present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous is used to talk about an action that started in the past and even now the action is in progress. Action started in the past and even now the action is in progress. Now, how do you describe it? What is a grammar? Yes, the grammar is subject follows has been or have been, which follows ing plus object. Subject follows has been or have been, which follows ing plus object, which follows ing plus object. Now remember, when we use has been or when we use has been, when we use has or have, always in the case of a boy, a girl, or an animal only, or a thing only, we use has been. In all other cases, we use have been. Hope the point is clear. Now, the fundamental difference between since and for, point of time and period of time. For your better understanding, I have given you a lot of examples to understand the difference between since and for. And on the whole, for your wonderful understanding since and for, I have given you a lot of examples, not only in positive statements, but also in questions. I hope everybody understood clearly the present perfect continuous, that is tense number 4, which is a very important tense. I hope I hope present perfect continuous is clear to all of you. So in this session we have discussed tense number 4, that is present perfect continuous. In our next session we will discuss another important tense. Wish you good luck and all the best.